Up from Kuro, he got it. He's got Burrow Strike stolen as well. If he wanted to hold him there, maybe Burrow Strike on the dead corpse.
Or the bear.
Yeah, he's too far out. This is going to be a huge loss. 96 seconds. He's got to get it back. He'll be successful. Time. 14 HP it drops down to. They will still take the tier 3 tower.
It survives, but it doesn't have a lot of items anyway, so it's Na'Vi can still just keep going.
Yep. They'll look for the mid-ranks again. The double tornadoes keeping him out. Blink to Ravage and the silence. Orange pop and call the GG. Na'Vi are into the winners bracket semi-final. And the first team here on the main stage to claim a victory. Not the easiest one in the world though. It was forced to 3 games.
Yeah, Na'Vi, they do a traditional Na'Vi win in a best-of-3 series. I don't think they know any other way to win it. It's always lose the first game and then win 2 games by a large margin.
And the first time, man, like they say, they win in this kind of in this kind of style. But this is the first time they've won since 2011 up against Orange. And what a game to do it in. You do it here at TI3. It's the biggest prize pool we've ever seen. And there's so much pressure. There's so much pressure on these teams. That's a beautiful thing. But of course, Wagga, we get to have a break and we'll get to go to the other caster team for the next matches. But what we get to do right now, we go to the panel, boys.
Thank you, Toby and Wagga, and congratulations to Na'Vi. As Toby mentioned, the first win over them since 2011 at the International. They lose the first game, as Wagga said, in Na'Vi fashion, but now they come back, win 2, and they will be the first team to move on to the upper bracket semi-finals and guarantee themselves a top 6, and they won't be playing any more today. We'll see them a little bit later in the tournament. But Orange, guys, it just seemed like they gave Na'Vi everything that they wanted.
Yeah, it was pretty close to the draft from game 2. They had Rubik instead of Bane, but their core were still there. The Chen, the Lifestealer, and Dendy's Puck. Dendy played amazingly yet again.
Yeah, definitely. And like I was saying in the first game, you just gave Na'Vi the entire lineup that they really wanted to have. They got the Lifestealer, the Chen, the Puck again, and then, as you were saying earlier, trademark hero for Rubik, not Rubik, for Kuroky. What?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Orange kind of crumbled under the pressure in terms of strategy. I didn't really appreciate their lineup whatsoever. It seemed like a lot of different heroes that didn't really have any synergy, and you could just see how Na'Vi executed their lineup and just got a huge lead early on. And even though they went in and died a lot in the base near the end, it didn't matter much.
Do you think it was a case as well that Orange picked up the bounty, like we stopped Na'Vi getting the bounty, and then they didn't complement the bounty with the other heroes? Like, what would you have liked to seen like them do with having a bounty hunter there? Because you said they had different heroes in different kind of roles.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you go for a lone druid, do you really want to go for a bounty hunt? I don't think either hero complements the other. They went for a windrunner pick. I'm not entirely sure what was about. I mean, they got the Sand King, and that's about. Yeah,
on net.
Yeah, that's about all they really got that I liked. I think they should have gone for a Queen of Pain. With a Weaver and a Queen of Pain and a Bounty Hunter, you can really dish out some damage early on and really be distracting the enemy and get off some easy kills with some easy gold. But with a Lone Druid, doesn't really complement.
Yeah, and of course we saw Na'Vi just put the pressure on, went to all the kind of tier 1 towers very early and just stopped that bounty from being useful, and also the whole lineup of Orange Esports. So we do actually have some highlights from the game, and it really was all about Na'Vi. So here we go, Ben. This is a bit of a key. Like, Dendy was so aggressive on KYXY, and could he have predicted that they would have had supports behind the tree line, or just thinking it would have been?
You can't always live in fear of smoke. You have to go out and get some CS sometime. And Dendy almost killed him without. Ooh, nice Ravage there. This is really what happened to Mushi all game. He just ravages and dies over and over and over again. And Mushi was unable to farm out anything. You almost have to have a BKB as a Weaver against a Tidehunter. It's pretty much the same thing that we saw in game 1.
Yeah, and Mushi was actually had the most deaths. And that's very odd to see a Weaver who was on safe lane going to the mid role. He actually had like 5 deaths by, you could call the kind of mid-game series, and they were really smart with actually just how to kill him when they want to kill him. They weren't scared of just making sure they can get Dendy on him in terms of silence and also the coil, and also Funnick. You saw there in the second clip of the highlight, just using that Ravage nice and early.
That's what's going to happen when you give a puck that early of a Blink Dagger against the Weaver that doesn't really have much HP early on. He just blinks on him, silences, and there's nothing the Weaver can do from there if there's enough damage output. And that's You know, that's the one downside of Weaver, if there is any. It's the fact that he's so squishy if he's just either disabled or silenced, obviously. So, like, yeah, Na'Vi just executed so perfectly well that there's nothing Mushi could do. And again, they didn't really have the lineup to support him either.
All right, so Bruno, what have you got for us? What are your final thoughts on this match?
I want to go back to someone that they were talking about, and I want to back up this with statistics. We talk about the Bounty Hunter. You said how it didn't match with their lineup. It felt like it was something like they saw Na'Vi saying, "Oh, the Bounty Hunter worked for you last game. We want to do that as well."
Yeah.
This is actually the first time they played Bounty Hunter in the whole tournament. This is not a hero they had practiced for. It wasn't really good. It didn't pay off for them. And the other thing that they had is that even though the Weaver was 4-0 until now, which was one of their best heroes, I just checked. You know how I said that Tidehunter was kind of strong against Weaver because of the reason of the Ravage? And Pak, you just said that it was strong because you silenced her. Tidehunter versus Weaver, all time, 55% win rate. That's quite a lot. I mean, it's 5% over 50. It's pretty.
Oh, all time, not just tournament.
All time.
Yeah.
And then Pak versus Weaver, same reason, 57%. Those two destroy the Weaver. If you stop the Weaver from going there, what else did you have? Not much. And that happened.
All right, then, yeah, so the story was the draft, and the person in charge of the draft for Na'Vi was, of course, Puppey, and we're going to go live to Casey on stage with an interview.
Hello, guys. Thank you, James. Yeah, Puppey's here. He's already giving me a hard time, so I can tell we're going to have a good time here, don't you think, Puppey?
Nah.
See? You see what's happening here? I'm just going to open it up right away and ask what happened with the first game, because, again, I'm new to the Dota experience, but I was back here, and I knew enough to know that things escalated pretty quickly, and a lot of people were surprised to see you guys go down.
Our problem was probably psychological.
Yeah.
Nothing connected to the game, nothing connected to our play, nothing connected to the picks. I think psychologically we weren't ready to play the style that they were playing. I guess we were a bit narrow-minded in that situation, but you know, it's the first game. We always lose the first game for some reason. I don't know what's going on with us, but you know, I guess we like to lose the first game, you know.
Well, how were you able to kind of reconnect and go into the second? What did you do?
No, but we've been here for a lot of times. We know that if we lose the first game and what's the reason, we just understood that, okay, this is actually very strong what they do. Mm-hmm. We were not prepared, and let's just take it another step, because all we can do is restart our brains, because we can't, you know, remember what happened last time and just keep on banging it in our heads that we just lost the game. Or you probably can hear this like very weird. I don't know.
No, it's good. You do what you want. You won, so hey, do what you want with the microphone.
Next time I'm going to bang the...
You realize that everybody watching you right now is going, no, it's their microphone.
At least they're banging.
So, okay, let's talk about, you mentioned how you're feeling now. I want to know how you're feeling. Did you think I was going to hit you there? How are you feeling now versus last year? Because last year, it sounds like not nearly as strong just coming into the tournament. And now you're coming in, you're coming in from a stronger perspective. How does it feel coming at it this way versus last year?
No difference, to be honest.
Yeah?
Everybody has a chance. Everybody has something to prove. Playoffs are crazy.
Yeah.
They are. I think every one of these games will be very entertaining to watch, and you will see how, you know, some people play for a million. It's amazing, and you can see it how people start playing like us and like them. To be honest, they lost, you know, the match, and we know what's going on in their heads. They know what's going on in our heads, because it's just how it's going to be, and it's going to have some entertaining Dota.
And I'm told that Tidehunter was a pretty unusual choice. Talk about that.
Well, you know, as long as you don't play Tidehunter like Shiver, everything's fine. The hero's pretty good. You don't know who Shiver is, but...
No, but I think I saw it in the lobby.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's not that famous yet. Nobody has played it like that here, so it's not that famous.
Listen, they want me to send it back to James. James, I want you to hold on 1 second, because we have a lot of people on Twitter who have been asking me to ask you a couple questions. Twitter! Are you ready?
Let's do it.
You sure? There's two of them. First is, what did you...
James.
Well, yeah, this is for you, James, too. What did you have for breakfast this morning, and did it help?
I had oatmeal.
Did it help?
I always have oatmeal because they have it in the hotel.
Okay. Also, how are you feeling about Alliance? If we're really going to look further ahead to the end, are you nervous yet to face Alliance?
Of course I'm nervous, but not really. I think it's good that they're a big European team that's, you know, crushing everybody and showing that, you know, we could do it and they're amazing. I like the team. I've been always spectating the games, and I hope the best for them.
You guys are fun to watch. I really appreciate it, and thanks for taking the time to chat with us, and good luck moving forward.
James.
You want to toss it back to James? Look at the camera. Go
No,
ahead.
I can see James.
You can see.
I can see James.
Okay, James, don't be afraid. Go ahead and say James back to you or something along those lines so that he can hear you.
Back to you, James.
Thanks, puppy. I got it. We're going to make a team together in the future. It's going to be brilliant. I'm going to do the drafting, though, obviously.
Who's the better looking of you two then?
He's taller, so you just get bonus points for how tall you are. So, puppy wins. But one of the great things, puppy interview is a puppy interview, right? It's like, we love hearing from the guy. You know that it's like, we're just going to play our best. We know what they're doing. We know what we're doing. And when we lose, we know what the mistake was. And they always seem to be able to recoup. And that's what makes them so amazing as a team. And, of course, that with the skill level. But one thing he did say was, when talking about all the matches and all the opponents, is everybody still has a chance. And so we should go to the brackets because, of course, Orange have dropped down to the lower bracket, but everybody still does have a chance to beat each other. And we can take a look exactly who's going to be playing who. But, of course, our next game will be Tongfu versus Fnatic. Now, I've got Fnatic picked as my surprise team, if that's no surprise to you. I don't know if that's a surprise.
I mean, I just checked my fantasy team, and I'm calling myself out as a liar. I actually had no one from Orange on my fantasy team. Instead, I have Fnatic, so I would very much like to have Fnatic come out. I actually have Tongfu as well, so this is a toss-up for me. If they play head-to-head and do really well against each other, that's great for my fantasy points. I think though, in my book, Tongfu might be a bit better. Fnatic is one of those teams that has some of the EG in them.
Fnatic also said that I can't remember what exactly they said, but they said if they didn't get Tongfu, they would have wanted Orange.
Okay.
So they're quite happy to go up against Tongfu.
That means they didn't want to play against Navi.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if that wasn't even possible, though, because they came from a different group.
Who's the other one? Because if they didn't want Tongfu and they wanted Orange...
It's Alliance and LGD, I think.
It might have been, it might have been.
Yeah,
sorry,
they didn't want to play against Alliance.
Yeah.
That's what they were saying.
So I think Fnatic still feel pretty happy, but of course Orange going down into the lower bracket. I don't know if we're going to have those available. I believe they're going to be playing the winner of, is it Team Dignitas?
Dignitas and Rattlesnake.
Dignitas Rattlesnake,
Dignitas and Rattlesnake.
Are you sure? I heard it was Liquid and UFC. Just to call you out and
that's the others.
And be wrong about it.
Well, you don't even know who's on your fantasy team. Like, even your fantasies are wrong.
All right,
now.
I'm ignorant.
Okay.
I'll just shut up.
Maybe you're right. We're not really sure here.
No, loser of upper bracket round 1A plays against Dignitas and Rattlesnake.
Yeah, so I'm as always wrong. Back to you, James.
Do you know when Gods is flying in? Hey Ben, how are you doing?
Anyways, back to Tongfu Fnatic. I think they're actually very evenly matched, but one thing is we haven't really seen Fnatic play too much against DK, LGD, Tongfu and the like, and we saw Alliance travel to Asia for the G1, as well as Team Liquid, and then we saw Navi already in Shanghai for the A-Lore Cup, but I'm not particularly sure how these two teams are going to match up. I think that Tongfu is going to take it, but it can't be that much in favor of them.
I want to hear what Bruno has to say on the teams, but from knowing Fnatic and knowing the kind of team they are, they get the most out of a LAN experience. Like when they're actually all sat next to each other playing, they hype each other up, they egg each other on, and they actually overperform. Not to they're not capable of playing that level, but online they never seem as good as they come to when they play on LAN, and that's just so much experience they've had from being at many DreamHacks as a team and just knowing each other for so long. But Bruno, what are your impressions on the match we're going to go to next?
Well, if you look at just the score in the preliminary stage, we have Fnatic with 9-5 versus Tongfu 8-6. That's pretty similar, but I think there's something interesting to point about specifically about Tongfu, and it's that they are very unstable as a team, and that can be shown because they either won their best of twos or lost their best of two. They didn't have any single tie. They lost 2-0 versus Alliance, versus Team Liquid, and versus LGD China, and they won every other single match. What that means is that they are either awesome or they're terrible, apparently.
But that's this group stage, though. If we look further back, Alliance has also been very shaky. At DreamHack, they didn't make it out of the group stage, partially because of a bad rule potentially, and then at EMS they lost to EG. So Fnatic hasn't really been looking too strong on LAN lately in terms of results. But in the group stage, they of course did very well and surprised everyone, especially by beating Na'Vi 2-0. So I think anything can happen in this match. I'd give it a 50-50 really. It's gonna come down to, like Poppy was saying, the psychological play and who's more ready for the game basically.
Tongfu was the only team to be pretty close to beating Alliance. They had a 78-minute game in the game 1 of Alliance vs Tongfu series, so that probably speaks for Tongfu a little bit. They either look really strong or just really poor.
All right, and Bruno, I believe we've got some fabulous stuff.
Yes, we talked a little bit about Tongfu. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Fnatic. We're going to talk about the 5 strongest heroes in the tournament. I really wanted to showcase Meepo here, but they say it was a no-go for some reason. So we're not having Meepo, but these are the 5 heroes that work really, really well for them. And the Weaver, again, hero of the tournament, 12 picks. They seem to want to take Weaver every single time. And the only times they didn't get it is because either they banned it themselves just once, or it was banned against them. We expect Tongfu to analyze this and say we're not going to give them Weaver because they also have a very high win rate with that hero. Dragon Knight, DK mid working there, that's also another interesting thing. And the rest, of course, yeah, you know, like Chen, Visage, very strong heroes overall that have been doing very well.
I think worth noticing is the fact that Fnatic's 5 most picked heroes is also some of the most popular heroes throughout the tournament from all the teams.
Yes.
So it looks like they've been picking and playing a bit more cookie cutter than they normally do because they normally do their own strategies and stuff like that.
Or maybe they are setting the new meta game.
Maybe they're setting.
Maybe it's them, yeah. Are they the trendsetters or the followers? Who knows? But yeah, of course, we've been talking about Fnatic and Tongfu just for a little bit. But if you guys aren't familiar with the teams, if you're watching at home on Twitch TV or even in the auditorium here at Seattle, we're going to let the teams introduce themselves, starting with Tongfu.
大家好，我是来自同福的豪，我在队内担任 carry。从一开始我们打 G1 的时候，就是连一个就是东南亚的网吧队都赢不了，然后到后面拿了 DSL 的冠军，自从那个周洋来了之后，我们5个人一起有说有笑，默契非常的好。
在离开eHome的时候，那时候比较年轻气盛吧，自己也不怎么努力，队伍换了挺多，但是始终没有冠军。首先挺对不起原来之前eHome队友的。其次就觉得挺对不起自己的吧，因为自己既然选择离开，应该就会，比之前更努力，但是我没有这么做。我的加入，可能带给同福有不一样的变化，但是我觉得这是我们5个人的努力。
因为去年我们在 TR2 之前是在北京嘛，然后我在北京认识了一个女朋友，所以每天晚上我都去她家睡，所以就是训练完就走，然后平时训练说好了几点，然后又晚回来，所以没有办法就是全心全意。然后但是今年不一样，今年就是全心全意都放在 Dota 上，感情的事什么都没想，就是反正每天都在训练。如果真的拿到冠军的话，肯定非常感谢我的队友们，然后对我一直以来的支持。
王娇 ，banana。中国开封，
陈志豪，中国广州，
周洋 KJ， 中国上海，
张盼木，中国武汉，
王兆辉山生，中国湖南。
So there we have it, the team of Tongfu. Now last year at the International they did finish up kind of in the 7th place, just outside of the top 6. So if they're able to win this game, they will have a better performance than in the 2012 International. And so far they've been doing pretty well, picking up some good first place finishes over in some of the tournaments that they competed in China. So they seem really good as a team. They seem to be kind of peaking as they've come into 2013. What do you make of the individual players and what do we expect from them, Jacob and Ben?
I think they've eliminated a lot of the mistakes and maybe gotten some more talent on their roster than they did last time around. Adding King J has really given them some experience and some stable play in their play, and also their drafts are really interesting. They pick a lot of these strength heroes that can fight a long time. They got Pandaren Brewmaster, they got the Clockwork Goblin they utilize a lot. They use the Doombringer, a very sturdy lineups they like to pick with good shutdown and good initiate basically, and that's like you were saying, they did really good throughout 2013 so far, and that's one of the reasons I had them as my personal favorites going into the tournament. That they were looking shaky in the group stage, I mean, there can be several reasons behind that. I still think they might be a slight favorite to beat Fnatic, and I'd put my rares on them if I had to.
If you had to, you sound like you really love your rares. If someone held...
I'm very clingy to my cosmetic items. Like, I don't want to... My heroes are pretty pimp. I don't want to upset anything.
What's your favorite cosmetic item?
Oh,
I mean, every time I play with Jacob, he's like, I'm trying to level up kills on my Bloodseeker items.
Oh yeah, I got the sickest Bloodseeker in the
every
entire
single
business.
time.
My Bloodseeker is the best. I almost have 1,000 kills on it. So, but my favorite item is the Hood of the Hierophant for Omni Knight. It looks so sweet. He's like a monk and just comes out with his big hammer and smashes you on the head. I love that.
Man, I always gamble away my Omni Knight items.
Yeah, well, I never played the hero, but he looks sick.
I think that Banana's one of the strongest supports on the scene. I think he's probably the second on the Fantasy League, only behind EGM of Team Alliance. So I also think that Sansheng has really stepped it up. Before, I kind of thought that there was this big discrepancy between Banana and Sansheng, but they've really leveled it out. Sansheng has been playing pretty respectably well. Mu has been playing some unusual heroes too. I saw him on Kunkka the other day in an old school SD and Kunkka mid, so they do have some unusual strategies up their sleeve. And their carry player, Mu, the carry Hao is very, very strong too. I think he's also performing well in the fantasy.
I was standing behind Hao at TI1, so this is 2 years ago. And this was before I really had much experience with any of the players from China. And watching him play the Weaver, not missing a single last hit for 16 minutes, really, really impressed me, because back then, everyone was bad at the game anyways. So he's just one of the best carries that China has to offer. He's like on level with Burning and Black from Europe. And I'm really impressed with what he can, like if he gets the room or space needed, he can just shut down the entire game on his own with all the farm he's amassed. So a very impressive player.
Yeah, and that's something Bruno said. When they're ahead, they win 2-0. When they lose 2-0. So the team that they're up against, who are going to have to decide if they're going to give them that much room, are of course going to be their opponents, Fnatic.
Hey, I'm Tal Isaac. My nickname is Fly. I'm playing for Team Fnatic and I'm from Kfar Saba, Israel. Right now I'm a player for full time, but I'm also doing some stuff on the side for Commando Krav Maga. It's a self-defense system. Like there is normal Krav Maga, and then this is a newer version. Recently I did injure my wrist a bit at the gym, so I can still play, but it kind of hurts when I play.
My name is Johan Sundstein. My nickname is Notel. I play for Fnatic, and I'm from Copenhagen, Denmark. I'm a great guy, like best as they get, so I would say I'm a very loose kind of guy. I love being sarcastic. I used to go to school. Now I game full-time, and I have been for 2 years.
Winning this year's international will mean quite a huge deal to me, since we've been working a year now to get here.
Winning the international would be obviously the biggest achievement we could get.
I would like to win the group stage and then head into playoffs and feel really confident. Even if we don't win, I will be really psyched to be here, because it's once in a lifetime opportunity.
Being here is already so great. You set a goal, like a big goal, and you achieve the goal, like it's the best feeling you can have. The chances of seeing Meepo are definitely there, and I don't think they're as low as you might think. So screw the money. There you one game with Meepo at TI, you ain't got nothing on me.
Adrian Cresio, Era, Ulricehamn, Sweden.
Tal Isaac, Fly, Kfar Saba, Israel.
Khan Bukas, Hani, Düsseldorf, Germany.
Johan Sundstein, Notel, Copenhagen, Denmark.
Kalle Saarinen, Trixie, Helsinki, Finland.
So there you have it. That completes the roster of Fnatic. That gets the name you should know them by. Other people also know them by Hontrash, and they're from absolutely everywhere, these guys. But they are, for me, one of my personal favorite teams to follow through any tournament, just to even hang out with. And you can already tell from the video, just a great bunch of guys, and that does actually help when you comes down and plays Dota. But Bruno, what do you think of Fnatic so far? I don't think anyone would have believed that someone that transferred to Dota just almost a year ago, just over a year ago.
Well, a little bit more, but last year they weren't performing at all. They were kind of this team that everyone invited to tournaments because they had people that everyone knew. They came from other games, and right now they're pretty much strong. Even before TI, now they came strong. They beat Navi. They are very, very solid at what they do. I actually I have a list of everything about every teams. So I got a page here on my Fnatic, and it says, of course there's the meeple, but the most interesting thing here is that they have no hero under 50% win rate, other than just heroes that just they played once. So every hero that they play more than once, they win with it. They are very, very knowledgeable on what they do, and even though they don't have the biggest of hero pools, they do know how to play. They were the trendsetters we were talking about. They get their Weaver, they get their DK, they get all these Chen, Razor, trending heroes, and it's all about them controlling the draft and from there getting into the victories.
I like your book.
It's pretty nice.
Have you got, is it like a stat book which goes beyond Dota as well? Do you have like stats on me in there or anybody else?
Yeah, but we'll get there in day 4.
Day 4?
Day 4.
All right. All right. So, Ben, what do you make of Fnatic and their chances going up against Tongfu?
Well, Fnatic, I think, is the only surprise in the winners bracket. I think some people would have subbed Zenith in for them, but they came out beating Na'Vi 2-0.
Well, one of the things about beating Na'Vi in this tournament early on, I have to say, I'm going to defend Na'Vi a little bit. They didn't have the best time and luck in terms of travel and attending the event. So I think the first day with Na'Vi, even though Fnatic did beat them, Na'Vi probably weren't all there, but you can't take it away from Fnatic like Puppy actually said to me, he said, even though we lost that and we had a bad time traveling, Fnatic played amazing. So it'll be nice if we get to see them go up against each other again.
Right. There's been some speculation that the reason that Alliance picked LGD was because that Alliance has been constantly scrimming with Fnatic. And Fnatic, that's probably why they're looking so strongly. They've just been constantly scrimming with one of the top teams. And I can't count them out on this. I can't put it at more than 50-50 for either team.
All right. And
like Ben said, it's very hard to predict a win on this. I would love for Fnatic to win. They're a great bunch of guys, and you could just see the passion in No-Tail wanting to just play Meepo. He didn't really care too much about the money, apparently. I mean, it's not that much of a big of a deal for a Danish guy. We were loaded anyways, but playing Meepo in this tournament would be amazing. I would love to see that. The thing is, they can't get Chen and Meepo, so because...
And that's the other thing. Of course, I want to see Meepo as well. But I would also really like to see No-Tail's Wisp. And it's really surprising because this guy can play lots of different heroes. Chen is something very, very noteworthy, as you said, it's Meepo. The Wisp would be something interesting. Tongfu, they do not play Wisp that much. Maybe they do not respect it. And that'll be very, very nice to see as well.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of Wisp picks or bans, and it's been like, in the games it's been picked, is it on a 50-50 win rate right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe Tongfu won't respect Wisp as much, and we'll see No-Tail get that Wisp up and going, and we might even see a Chaos Knight from Era rather than his live stealer. And I hope we can see some of the classic Fnatic play rather than just the trend we've seen in the group stage.
But they kind of started the Wisp a long time ago. They were one of the first teams that started playing lots of Wisp back when, if you remember, after TI2, the hero came and everyone was a little bit hesitant. Fnatic started playing with it. Then some of the Russian teams, all the Team Empire, used to play it a lot with CK. And that's when the hero grew out of proportion and invaded the Western scene.
The other European player that got famous for playing the Wisp was actually Phonic before he moved to the offlane. He played a ton of Wisp. And like you were saying, Empire and Fnatic, probably the most dominant team throughout the winter of 2012, 2013. And that was largely in part to Wisp and CK.
Yep, Fnatic have been, of course, as you mentioned, playing great in the prelims just before the main event that we're here. And I believe we have some stats on Fnatic for you, Bruno. This is all for you.
Let's go and see.
We're going to be looking at Fly, because we talked about No-Tail, but it is a duo on the support, and Fly is someone that brings a lot to the table.
Yep, it's a very strong duo, and it's all about these heroes that allow him to be a big part of in the middle of the fight. Vengeful Spirit getting in between everyone, Enigma getting the good Blink initiation and getting the big black hole, Crystal Maiden, if she can survive, throw an ultimate. And then Visage, I think Visage is kind of cheating because Visage has been doing so well all around the tournament. Just having that hero, the amount of nuke damage that he can deal at early levels 3 to 7, is amazing. And Fnatic is a team that knows how to exploit this very well. So Fly, one of the main pillars of this very strong team.
Yeah, and what I enjoy with Fly as well, he can do so much with so little item-wise. I always see him really just being involved. A lot of times he does get picked off. He is the kind of guy in the team fights that you'll see like, okay, Fly's gone again. But if it goes his way, he really gives opportunities and builds opportunities for his teammates to be able to do something amazing in the team fight. So, his play with N0tail's kind of skill and his hero pool is just such a nice lineup for the Fnatic team. And I have to say, Trixie is someone that has really impressed me this tournament. I don't know if did you see his Clockwork games?
I want to say yes, but no.
So he was just, okay, that's fine. He was just hitting like blind hooks, and it was just absolutely amazing. And Clockwork is a hero that we've also